Indonesia! This is it, the pride of Merah Putih Indonesia. Jaya, Jaya, Jaya! Right guys, like usual, we're gonna ask them one simple question. One word about IESF 14 World Esports Championship is?
One word again. Jaya, Jaya, Jaya.
Oke. Satu kata untuk event ini. Keren, keren, keren. Keren, keren, keren. Alright guys. You can do the handshake each other. Keep the sportsmanship always alive. And you can go through your room. For second match of today, who's gonna be going to the grand final for the next round? Is it Cambodia? Is it Indonesia? We will see after this. So, let us take to the caster that will lead this game for today. Please welcome once again Arashi and Mirko.
Welcome back to the caster desk with Mirashi. Mirko,
Arashi,
and we're here to bring you guys Indonesia versus Cambodia in the upper bracket finale.
it's a Southeast Asian showdown yet again. It's a very, very strong region, and today we have two very, very strong teams as well. We have seen that Indonesia is exceeding a lot of expectations, but it can say the same thing about Cambodia as well.
Two very young rosters, right? Two revamped rosters, actually. The revamped roster for Impunity representing Cambodia, and the revamped roster of EVOs representing Indonesia. A lot of doubts for both of these teams, both of these rosters from their respective countries, but I think for now, those doubts have been absolutely deleted from everybody's minds as both of these teams have managed to get into the upper bracket finals with somewhat ease, right? Well, for Cambodia, they were actually taken to the first ever full game series against Malaysia. 2-1 though, they were able to get that win with one particular pick, Arashi. It was the joy on the hands of Deja.
It's a joyful pick for Cambodia, but that's not the case for the Malaysians, and I think we're going to see that hero absolutely removed from the game for now because it's just way too strong. And with both teams being so aggressive, they will absolutely abuse the heck out of that pick. So I think both teams know better than to let it go. The question is, what will they pick instead? We've seen a lot of variety from Malaysia as well as Indonesia and Cambodia. They can both go for the dive-in composition, or they can go for a front-to-back poke kind of composition, and they both don't really operate the same way. So I think the drafts will really be telling on what we can expect from the early game to the mid game.
Well, we've seen that the drafts have played a massive role in the game and has had a massive impact as well. But what else has a massive impact in the game? If you guys are playing with lag on your phones, maybe it's time for an upgrade for you gamers out there. If you guys have speed problems on your smartphone, let me tell you, there's a really good phone that you can see on both sides of the caster desk right here. And let's tell them a little bit about this awesome phone, Arashi. It's the Galaxy A series 5G from Samsung. There's the A33 5G, there's the A53 5G, and also there's the A73 5G. Arashi right here on my right, your left. He has the details on the specifications. What makes this phone so awesome, Arashi?
Well, first of all, off the bat, 8 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes of memory, a Super AMOLED Plus screen, so on a bright, beautiful day like this, you have no glare, because the screen is just that clear. And speaking of clear, 120 refresh rate screen display means that you can get all those fast hand plays going on.
This is on a phone.
This is a phone.
My monitor at home is 75 hertz. This is a phone.
And your monitor is not 5G ready.
Oh my goodness. Well, say goodbye to any sort of lag or connection lag as well, because with the Samsung Galaxy A series 5G, you guys can get the peak performance. And guess what, Arashi? You know, if they want to check it out, right, they can just go ahead and check out the website Samsung.com, because they can get e-vouchers worth up to 500,000 IDR with a cashback as well, 600,000 IDR that adds on to that. An awesome gift, Arashi, worth up to 360,000 IDR.
That's a lot of value, man. If
You know,
if you add it up, you know,
it becomes awesome. And
becomes
guess what?
absolutely awesome.
Who's awesome for, everybody?
It is for
Everyone. Go ahead and check it out. Check your Samsung phones out and buy yours today, because it's also pretty budget friendly, right? Because there are 3 versions, the A33, A53, A73. Go ahead and get what you need, because you're definitely going to need an upgrade for your phone with Samsung. Speaking of upgrades, though, both of these teams have definitely leveled up their game since their last performance. Cambodia and Indonesia are looking to show or display the best gameplay that they've really prepared for.
The best version for sure, because if you look at the playoff brackets here, they've gone through a lot of very tough matches, and
You're tough.
okay, thanks, Mirko. But the tougher your opponents are, the tougher you become as well.
Ooh.
You know, steel can forge steel, but men can forge men as well.
Okay, that's a quote. Men can forge men. I like that, Arashi. Cambodia, Indonesia, though. If you're talking about the route to the upper bracket finals, who's had it tougher? It's definitely Cambodia with a 2-1 victory against Malaysia. So is that what you're trying to say? Are you saying that this matchup favors Cambodia?
I'm just saying, man, the tougher the opposition, the more you need to step up to actually prevail on top, and Cambodia has absolutely done that. But of course, Indonesia, they were not up against any pushovers as well. So both these teams have shown adaptability, a lot of improvements, and of course, being smart and quick on the fly. But let's take a look at the team versus here, because Ty and Dreams, the roamers for both these teams, they've been so active, so dynamic, so unpredictable, and that's definitely something to actually take into consideration.
Dreams was such a crucial player for Indonesia up against both Philippines and Argentina, and he's looking to play here again with that signature Kaja pick. But if we take a look at the player head-to-head right now, we are going to see Brands and Opie, 2 highlight members as well for both respective countries. I do want to touch a little bit more on the Cambodian side, though, Opie, because he's been an absolutely lethal goal laner. When you can see for Brands is for the KDA, GPM, and even just everything on the board, he's actually losing on paper towards Opie. And maybe that's because of the styles of both these goal laners.
Right.
It's a little bit different, right? Where Brands now, he's a very active goal laner who wants to just clear his wave and help his team, enable that team to look for team fights around the neutral objective as early as the first turtle. Meanwhile, Opie, he likes to take his time in that lane. He likes to get ganks a lot to enable him to create these crazy team fight, to be a crazy team fight threat that he is on the heroes that he gets. Because if you take a look at both of these players, they have a similar hero pool. Both of them wants to take their game into their own hands once they get those item power spikes. It's just the differences in the early stage.
I think it comes down to the playstyle of the teams as well. You do see that Cambodia, they really enjoy the solo carry mentality from OP. They just play to enable him, and he's will
OP.
actually be OP and carry the whole game. Whereas for Indonesia, for Brands, his team occasionally makes plays on their own, and usually Brands is left to fend for himself, and yet he's able to match the stats. So in a way, right, this shows again the prowess of both these laners, because they have their own strong suits. And that is the main question. With that in mind, what will be that winning strategy coming in from both these coaches, because they have a bit of an idea on how their opponents want to play.
Brands playing the weak side in the gold lane very well. Meanwhile, OP playing that strong side with a lot of ganks to enable him in that gold lane. So again, it really comes down to how both of these teams strategize against each other with this style, because it's another stylistic battle, another clash in styles. We saw this kind of play from Philippines, Indonesia. I think we're going to see it here again for Cambodia and Indonesia. As we jump into the draft for game number 1, Arashi, quick-fire predictions, Indonesia, Cambodia, based on the stats, before we get into the bans.
Based on the stats, who's going to come out on top? Ooh, that's a tough question. I mean, the stats were very, very close, but I think off the bat, of the surprise factor and how impressive the teams have been, I think Indonesia for sure is a favorite. But of course, we all like a comeback story, an underdog story, and Cambodia can serve as that dark horse of the tournament as we go straight into that banning phase. Joy for sure won't be making an appearance, but what else we ban away? We see that both teams have a lot of flexibility. So usually we see some Kajas getting banned out. We see now several mages as well. Very dynamic.
You can see here, Cambodia with the second pick with the red side. They are going to try their best to, I think, ban that Joy out. But Indonesia, knowing that Cambodia has played this Leomord yesterday and was absolutely lethal on it, they decide to ban the Leomord, take it out of Cambodia's hands. But Cambodia is already going for a very interesting strat. Since that game where Deja absolutely popped off, we've always seen that the red side has banned the Joy instantly. Cambodia's left that open for now.
For now.
Is this hinting at a fact that maybe Cambodia, they were able to utilize it really well. Maybe they're able to counter it as well.
Perhaps. I mean, for now, we don't really have a solid, a very effective counter. So we'll have to see. They have banned away that Fanny because it's a signature pick for Taz on the side of Indonesia. But for the Indonesians, they have banned away that Diggy as well. This is a very common strategy these days. Pick or ban it. And for Indonesia, the fact that they have banned away is very secure. There's very good utility to fight against crowd control. You can expect some aggression, some engages, some pickoffs from the side of Indonesia, as Cambodia will deny that Valentina pick.
Still, that thought is lingering over. Joy, who is it going to be let go here by Cambodia? Again, the team that utilized the Joy really well. So they should understand how much of a threat the Joy is, especially on the hands of these mechanical players from Indonesia, right? But that's the question I actually just want to ask for Cambodia right now. Is it because they know how to counter it? Because we've been talking a lot about this. We've been having discussions about how to counter the Joy lockdown heroes. But Todak tried that. They tried the Franco with the Mincetar, 2 lockdown heroes, and it did something, but it did not do enough to shut the Joy down.
Nowhere near enough, and I think that's the main problem. You may be able to counter it, but at what cost? If it's too difficult, if it's too costly for your team, you might as well don't do it. It doesn't really make sense. It's not a value kind of decision. So we have to see. This is the final ban, and this will tell. Will the Joy make an appearance? And if it's up there, will Indonesia insta-pick it? Or will they actually brave the odds and go for something more of their comfort? It all lingers in the decision of Cambodia. Now it's a bit intense, Mirko.
1-1 is up for grabs. The Joy as well. I think at this point, Cambodia, they need to double down. Don't ban the Joy. Go for a trade. Because if they do ban the Joy, it gives over that 1-1 towards Brands. We saw how lethal he was on that 1-1. But Cambodia, they're playing with fire here. Banning out the Akai, leaving Joy, Kaja, 1-1, all up for grabs. And this might be a bait. Cambodia, they can give that Joy over to Indonesia. A hero that many people have said can counter the Joy is that Kaja, bringing this Joy back with the Divine Judgment, locking her down with the suppression as well, but the Joy will still be the first pick for Indonesia. And Cambodia now has the opportunity to go for that Kaja and that 1-1.
The Kaja and the 1-1 for a bit more kiting. We did see that when Cambodia was going up against... Pardon me, I don't really remember right now at this moment, but when they were actually using this Joy as well, they banned away the 1-1, knowing that with the counter to mobility is usually more mobility as well. They have secured it, and in the hands of OP, in that essentially slightly reduced gold funnel situation, OP can actually use this 1-1 very effectively. But Indonesia is hovering on that gourd.
Whoa!
I think this is a joke. I don't think this is going to happen.
Is it though? We've seen a lot, and we've been, sometimes they actually do pick this up. Last time I think Gourd was picked up, it was a long time ago. I think it was MP Lighty Season 7.
A different lifetime ago.
A different lifetime, a different time. But now, the Joy, when it was on the hands of Deja, it was played in the mid lane. It wasn't played in the jungle. Right now, Indonesia, they do have the chance to actually flex this pick over to the jungle. I've seen some of my friends try it out. They will go and opt for the Yve and the Lolita instead of the Gourd. Pretty wise choice in the first game up against Cambodia in a best of 3. As Lolita provides such good cover for the other members against the 1-1, whether it's from the crossbow tang or just from preventing the weakness points from the get-go. And obviously the Yve becomes a solid hero to face off up against the 1-1. That matchup is pretty beneficial for the Yve. But Cambodia has that Kaja, right? So Indonesia needs to be very careful.
especially with their backline members. Unless it's a Joy, of course, because that kit has a lot of safety and security. For the side of Indonesia, though, having that Yve, we talked about utility, and now with the current changes, Yve isn't locked down only to being effective with the real-world manipulation. She can actually have a lot more impact with the other skills as well. And when you can slow down that 1-1, maybe that is how they plan on catching the 1-1 as well. The Martis, though, has been picked up by Cambodia, so they are setting up for a very, very oppressive early game.
Carmilla banned out Rashi, and now Cambodia are going to go for the first ban in the second phase. They've opted to go for the Martis. This is a very heavy dive/pick composition from Cambodia, just looking to scatter Indonesia's composition, their formation as well in these team fights, because it seems like it's the opposite. Indonesia are trying their best to form a front-to-back composition that really wants to, well, yeah, play front-to-back. That's it, you know, play around their frontliners, around their backliners. Yu Zhong, though, is going to be banned out. Cambodia setting up for a pretty vulnerable mage, I believe, with that Yu Zhong ban, because currently they do have 3 somewhat divey heroes, right?
Yeah, it's interesting right now because for Cambodia, if they are afraid of a dive, they're going to pair a long-range mage along with a Martis, Kaja, and 1-1. It doesn't really make sense on paper, but of course, when it comes to Cambodia, they usually have something just hidden up their sleeve, man. They were the ones coming out with the Joy pick as well, so we'll have to see from Indonesia what will be their response. They want to make sure that they don't get dove in the backline as well. They have the Lolita to deter any kind of massive dive. So I guess what they need right now is some DPS, making sure that the Martis cannot just overpower and just run into them, but they will ban away that Faramis instead.
See, that's why I was kind of confused with the ban towards Yu Zhong, right, for Cambodia. It definitely sets up for a mage like Farsa to come through for Cambodia, but I would have expected that Yu Zhong ban to come from Indonesia with the Yve, with already somewhat of a front-to-back composition. But I think at this point, Cambodia really needs to stop brands from doing something, right? And on the 1-1, you want to just ban the Irithel. Irithel just becomes such a good pick up against the 1-1, but the Leslie actually gets banned out, leaving the Irithel up for grabs for Indonesia, which is interesting.
I think we see a similar quote-unquote tactic used by the Philippines, having a Yve and an Irithel against the 1-1. We saw it, I think, in game number 1 in the earlier match, and it makes a lot of sense. I think Leslie has a lot of damage, and that is dangerous for the Martis, for the tankier frontline members. But having an Irithel, as you mentioned, Mirko, counters that 1-1, and in the late game, if Cambodia is really going hard for an engage, the mobility coming in from an Irithel that can just hit while moving, right, will be a huge advantage to the kite game. And looking at Indonesia right now, with a Yve, it's going to be very difficult to run away or towards the Indonesian side.
I think at this point, Indonesia needs to choose whether they want to ban out the mid lane or that XP lane. They decide to go for a Lunox ban, which is interesting, but it does signify again that Indonesia might want to go for a sustainable XP laner, a Uranus and Esmeralda.
Fredrin?
I think the Uranus becomes a solid choice up against the 1-1. You're really good at sustaining even up against that crossbow of Tang. But Cambodia here, it's their chance to pick first here. First pick over to Cambodia in the second phase. Ooh, hovering over a lot of very interesting heroes, but I do believe...
all the choices.
All the choices, yeah. I think the Lapu makes a lot of sense, but if they really want to try to lock that Joy down, the Jawhead's alright. I mean, we haven't seen it so far. Technically, your unstoppable force does follow through on every single dash, right? It can really follow you in, but they will decide to go for the safer option. You know, Jawhead in the XP lane, maybe a bit too aggressive, especially considering that they don't know who that Jawhead's going to be laning up against. So they go for the safer pick right now, and Indonesia can respond with an XP laner like, well, you know, it's Psychots. Paquito, Benedetta. These are the two heroes he's known for back in the MDL.
I think Paquito was the option that the Philippines opted for eventually in the hands of Papadap. Dapadab, Mirko. Okay. Some character development from Mirko right here. But the Paquito with the knockout strikes can be a big problem for Cambodia if they are trying to funnel in to, you know, pile up that follow-up. Yep. It will be the Benedetta having that elective final blow with the Petrify combo. And of course, Brands on that Melissa yet again. We have seen how slippery he can be with that getaway. And now for Cambodia, one final pick. I think crowd control is definitely something they want to go for. And some range will be very, very beneficial because they're up against so much range right now.
Forget slippery, man. When I think of Brands' Melissa, I think just sustain, because at one point up against Philippines, he was standing still. He was just hitting. He just found that opportunity, found that open space to actually go for that inspire. And that's what you can expect from Brands. He likes to make these crazy plays happen. It doesn't matter that he dies sometimes, as long as he dishes out enough damage for his team to be enabled. But Cambodia now, ooh.
All right.
That's a solid pickup for Cambodia. Now, this is pretty scary for both teams. I think for the draft, this is, for me, I think both teams have drafted themselves a really solid composition. It's just gonna come down to the execution.
I would agree, but I think considering the fact that Cambodia is so CC reliant and Indonesia has a hero that is notorious for just ignoring, shrugging off crowd control, I think they have a slight advantage, although it does seem like Taz will be the one piloting that joy, and that means that there will not be a vengeance available, so the burst damage solution can still be applied by Cambodia, and that is a scary prospect, although Taz is a mechanical genius.
We'll see. We saw him on the Fanny, on the Gushin, an absolutely crazy player. But from Cambodia, we've seen Deja pop off, Opie as well. So it's equal right now in the upper bracket finals on the draft. It's going to come down to how both of these teams execute their game plans, their styles. But Rashi, I asked you before the draft who you think is going to win. Now, after the draft, tell us.
All things considered, especially with the fact that the joy is on the table, I must go with Indonesia. But of course, that Kadena pick is just so volatile, right? There's so much potential. And of course, when you're trying to match each other in the pick-off game, the blessing of the ocean is so annoying to deal with. I think the early game favors Cambodia quite a bit. But if they don't get rolling, man, that mid-game is dangerous from the side of Indonesia.
Well, I think we are going to be ready to jump into the Land of Dawn for game number 1. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the upper bracket finals will be the first team in the grand finals securing the top 2 position. Will it be Indonesia or will it be Cambodia? As we jump into the Land of Dawn for game number 1.
Getting straight into it, and already you see a lot of emphasis in the mid lane. Wave pressure is also a big factor, especially if you want to be active in the early game. You want to get those pickoffs. It all starts with the lane. If you can push earlier, you can rotate faster and set up for those very interesting skirmishes. Although for now, we have to contend with a pause.
Well, this does give us a little bit more time to actually, dissect the draft a bit, right, Arashi? So let's do exactly that. Cambodia, I think the synergies here for both of these teams, it's proper based on the draft. Kadira, Lapu, Martis, Wanwan, Kaja. We said early on when they picked up their first 2 heroes, the Kaja and the Wanwan, it was already leaning heavily towards that pick style / dive composition, and they just multiplied it, right? With the help of the Martis now, the Lapu and the Kadira, it's all about the executions. If Martis gets going, if the crossbow Tang gets going, it's all about the resets from their ultimates. For the crossbow Tang, added duration, and obviously for the Martis, it's just ults after ults after ults. So there's just so much damage, and that's what they're looking for, that kind of team fight where they're able to just dictate how the team fight goes by going in first.
Not to mention, having so many threats against them right now will be such a mental strain on the Indonesians. Are they going to watch out for the Flicker Divine Judgment? Are they going to watch out for the Bravest Fighter coming in? Because we've seen crazy plays being made off the back of that Lapu Lapu as well. So when you're concerned about multiple angles of approach from your opponents, one of them is bound to succeed. And we'll have to see how solid, how strategic can Indonesia position and maneuver around those possibilities.
Which is, okay, so I have a question for you, Arashi, or a question for all the viewers as well. Personally, Melissa does work. I get what the Melissa was picked for, right? Up against the Lapu, up against the Martis, 2 melee heroes that want to dive on you. But thinking about the Wanwan, the Kanja, and the Kadira, there's not much counterplay that you can do up when you're on the Melissa, right? There's a whole lot of burst, a whole lot of CC on you. I was thinking, especially up against the Wanwan, the Irithel becomes a very solid choice. Now, why do you think Coach Zace opted to go for that Melissa pick for Brands?
The only real reason I can imagine is the fact that they are a team that doesn't like to back down. You know, Indonesia is very decisive when they want to go in. It's just the region that is known to be very, very aggressive. So maybe they don't like that approach the Philippines took to kite back right, and maneuver around. They like bringing the fight towards the Cambodians instead, and maybe they feel that with a Melissa, a hero, they can just do a lot of DPS to multiple members at the same time. They might just be able to stand toe-to-toe against this very aggressive dive from the Cambodian side.
Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we're hearing right now that the technical issue will take a bit of time to resolve, so we are going to head into a break. A very short one. Please do stay tuned. Mirashi, the Mirko Arashi combo, will be back very soon to bring you game number 1 of this upper bracket finals.
World Esports Championship Bali 2022. So, entering day 4 of the biggest esports championship, what did you feel? Did you have some fun? Anyway, entering the next round of this tournament, the competition is getting tougher, more intense, and more entertaining. Today, there is 4 games that will be played in this tournament. CSGO on the ice stage, Dota on the earth stage, Mobile Legends on the water stage, and PUBG in fire stage. So, are you ready to watch more matches on this day? But before that, here's the joy of the day 3 of the ISF 14 World Esports Championship Bali 2022. Enjoy! So, how is it? Exciting, isn't it? We're exploring more other booths tomorrow, so stay tuned and cheerio!
Okay, so today we have Argentina that will be competing in Mobile Legends Bang Bang in World Esports Championship 2022, and I have a few questions to ask. Okay, so the first question, are you satisfied with your performance in this match?
¿Están contentos con la performance que tuvieron?
Sí, estamos contentos y conformes.
Yeah, we're really happy and up to our standards.
So the next question, what is your key factor that helped you to win in this match?
¿Cuál es el factor clave que les ayudó a ganar en este partido?
La unión entre todos y la confianza entre uno y el otro.
The union among us and trusting each other on all the decisions we had to make. For sure.
So even you have won this match, do you think there are things that you can improve to the next match?
Incluso aunque no hayan perdido ningún partido, ¿creen que hayan cosas que tengan que mejorar para el próximo partido?
Siempre hay cosas que mejorar y hay que ver los errores individuales también.
¿Cómo que, por ejemplo?
Posicionamiento, visión, comunicación.
There are always things to improve, not only in the macro game but also in the micro game. Like we could do like some better like visualization of the map and positioning ourselves on the map. So we're going like rewatch our match and check what we did so we don't make the same mistakes for the next match.
So you will facing other country in your next match. Will you use the same strategy on the next match?
¿Vamos a la misma estrategia contra el próximo partido?
Sí. Vamos a salir con todo. La idea es ganarlo todo. Somos la selección de Argentina y vamos a salir a ganar.
Yeah, well, it obviously depends on the pick and like the rivals we're going to have. But yeah, we're going to give all of us to the match. We are Argentina, we're proud of it, and we're going to show what Argentina is.
So this is the last question. What is your biggest challenge to beat your opponent?
I'm sorry?
What is your biggest challenge to beat your opponent?
¿Cuál es el principal desafío que tienen para vencer a sus rivales?
Estudiarlos y entender cuál es su forma de juego para poder contrarrestarla.
Yeah. So our biggest challenge is to understand our rivals, so we can think of a strategy to overcome them before they come after us.
Okay, that's all for all my questions. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope the best for this competition. Thank you. Okay, so here we have Gabian for Onyx Esports, and I have a few questions to ask. So the first question, how confident are you for the Indonesian Mobile Legends national team to win in this competition?
Yang pastinya yakin banget, soalnya kayak aku juga sering lihat ngeliat kayak beberapa turnamen kayak mereka mainnya gimana dan yang gak kalah jagonya sama tim-tim negara lain, jadi harus menang.
So what do you expect for eSport Indonesia?
Esports Indonesia sekarang kan udah dibilang lumayan maju juga ya maksudnya dibanding negara-negara lain selain Filipina. Jadi ya semoga bisa lebih berkembang lagi, bisa lebih maju lagi, bisa banyak event gede di ISF. Amin.
So okay, for the last question, what is your opinion for ISF?
Opinion ya, udah oke banget sih. Apalagi tadi aku lihat kayak dari tahun ya, dari 2009 sampai sekarang itu kayak udah hebat banget, tetap pertahanin, dibikin jauh lebih baik lagi.
Okay, so today we have Malaysia that will be competing in Mobile Legends Bang Bang in World Esports Championship in 2022, and we have a few questions. So the first question, are you satisfied with your performance in this match?
Satisfied. I think the boys are quite happy, but they are not overconfident because our motive is to go straight into the finals.
So for the next question, what is your key factor to help you to win in this match?
Menangkan Momolin, menangkan Golin dan mid lane.
Even you have won this match, do you think that you will improve for your next match?
Dah menang match ni, perlu improve tak untuk next match?
Kita nak akan buat lagi the best lah daripada sebelum ni. InsyaAllah kita akan buat lagi power.
So you will face other country in your next match, right? Will you use the same strategy on the next game?
Maybe tidak. Kita akan gunakan strategi lain. Sebab setiap team ada strategi orang, so kita orang ada strategi untuk counter mereka.
So for the last question, what is your biggest challenge to beat your opponent?
What the biggest challenge to beat an opponent?
Team mana yang bagi dia?
What the big
The biggest opponent to beat the opponent is about we studied them. We need to Melayu je. Kita orang nak kena beat diorang daripada segi strategi dengan drafting itu je lah kot.
Tadi macam mana?
Okay, that's all for my question. Thank you for your time and I hope the best for your competition.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So today we have Philippines that will be competing in Mobile Legends in World Esports Championship 2022, and I have a few questions to ask. So the first question, are you satisfied with your performance in this match?
In this match against Slovenia?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we're very satisfied with our we're very satisfied in this match versus Slovenia, but in EVOS I think we still have some things to work out.
Yeah. Okay. So what is your key factor to help you to win in this match versus Slovenia?
Key factor. Ano key factor? Factor. What's the key factor?
The key factor is we work together.
Yeah, we use our UB strategy.
Yeah.
Do you think there are things that you can make improvement for the better match?
More practice. Yeah, and adjust on cell phone use.
So you will facing other country in your next match, Vietnam, right? So will you use the same strategy?
Yeah, we still have more strategies we're not showing yet. We're gonna show it in our next match. Yeah.
So what is your biggest challenge to beat your opponent?
Biggest challenge. I think our biggest challenge is adjusting to the phones and the comms. Because the comms is delay and the sound is very weak. And I think the biggest adjustment is the phone because we use iPhone in our country.
Yeah. So how confident are you to win this competition?
How confident are you in this?
100%
confident.
Yeah, 100%.
So this is the last question. Who is the tough enemy in this competition?
I think
Indonesia and Cambodia, Malaysia. Yeah.
Cambodia and Malaysia.
They are competitive.
Yeah.
So okay, that's all for my question. Thank you for your time and I hope the best for you all in this competition.
Thank you.
Pilipinas! Lakad matatag!
Okay, thank you. Congratulations, Philippines!
Thank you. Support Philippines.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Indonesia that will be competing in Mobile Legends Bang Bang in World Esports Championship 2022. And I have a few questions to ask. So the first question, are you all satisfied with your performance in this match?
Saya go Japan. Yeah. Pakai bahasa English. So for this match, I think we will take this. So happy, but we're not too satisfied. Our to win the whole championship.
So the next question, what is your key factor that helped you to win in this match?
Key factor that was win this match is everyone's hard work. Everyone really put in the effort, the time, and mainly just trust between everyone over here and everyone doing their job. Because without everyone's contribution, we wouldn't have been able to do it.
So even you have won the match, do you think there are things that you can improve for the next match?
There's definitely many things that we can improve. There was a lot of mistakes that we made as well in both games, so we will look through our games and fix our errors.
Okay, so you will be facing other country in your next game, right?
Yeah.
Will you use the same strategy for the next game?
Strategy-wise, we cannot really disclose, but I can assure that we still have other strategies out there, and we will see what we want to pull out for each different team. The biggest challenge was because I think Philippines is the favorites, and there's a lot of pressure because our players are all new, and this is our first time representing Indonesia itself. So I feel like the biggest challenge is just the pressure itself. It feels really great to win the M3 Champions, but we know that there's a possibility that they will make a comeback, and we will eventually might face them again. So we're happy for now, but we're not too happy yet.
We know that the weather in Bali is hot, right? And the game is on the upper stage. So does the weather affect for the match?
I would say the setup overall is really good. The weather doesn't really affect us, and the setup, the equipment, everything covers the weather, so we don't really feel the heat. Thank you so much.
Indonesia! Jaya, jaya, jaya! Okay, thank you, congratulations Indonesia! Okay, so hello everyone, we have Daki here as an ex-professional Mobile Legends player from Indonesia.
Okay, hello.
So the first question is, what do you think about this match, Indonesia versus Philippines?
Sebelum match ya, pakai bahasa Indonesia aja ya. Jadi menurutku matchnya itu bagus banget, tapi menurutku Indonesia masih punya PR karena secara early Filipina lebih bagus, masih lebih bagus, tapi secara mid game mungkin tadi Filipina over PD, ada yang game 1 over PD, akhirnya Indonesia bisa balikin. Tapi maksudnya menurutku kemenangannya belum clean aja.
So who is the top opponent for Indonesia in ANZS?
Filipina.
How much confidence are you that Indonesia will be the winner for this competition?
70% ya.
So for the last question, any future hope for esports Indonesia?
For esports in Indonesia is semoga banyak tim baru bisa masuk MPL termasuk GPX.
Okay, thank you. That's all. Thank you. So today we have Cambodia that will be competing in Mobile Legends Bang Bang in World Esports Championship 2022, and I have a few questions to ask. So the first question, how do you feel about this match? Are you feel satisfied, or maybe there are some things that you all need to improve from this match?
From the last match, we feel exciting, and there's a lot of things for us to learn from the last match.
Okay, so what do you think about your enemy performance today?
The performance is very strong because they have more experience, and yes, they very strong.
Okay. So is there any special preparation for the next match?
Yeah, there is the draft, the strategy for the next match.
Okay, so you already won the game in this time, right?
Yeah.
What things do you have that your enemy doesn't have? Maybe can be your chemistry more than good than them, or rather?
I think it's our spirit. Together, we all in one. We know what to do, and yeah, we trust each other. We have that same spirit.
So how confident are you to win this competition?
Our confidence is 50%.
50%.
Yeah, 50%.
So for the last question, who is the tough enemy in this competition? Why?
I think both of Philippines and Indonesia are the toughest team for us to beat.
Why?
Because they are the stronger team in ASEAN, and they have more experience, and yeah, their players so strong.
So okay, so that's all for my question. Thank you for your time, and I hope the best for your competition.
Thank you.
Okay, so today we have Age and Textam as a coach and analyst from Indonesian Mobile Legends team in World Esports Championship 2022, and I have a few questions to ask. Okay, so the first question, how do you feel about this match? Are you all satisfied? Or maybe there's something that you all need to improve from this match?
Dengan pertandingan tadi kita udah lumayan puas lah ya, kita bisa menang terus, tapi kalau kita lihat kita tetap fokusnya buat di upper bracket final, terus di nanti di grand finalnya sih. Jadi ya kita masih tetap walaupun puas tetap fokus buat dapetin emas sih kayak gitu.
So what do you think about your enemy performance today?
Musuhnya sebenarnya lumayan bagus, dari draftingnya juga kita lihat mereka udah cenderung ke hero-hero yang meta, yang mereka tahu powernya seperti apa, ngikutin patch banget, dan ya lumayan ngagetin sih musuhnya. Mereka bisa adaptasi dengan meta-meta yang sedang berlangsung lah di Mobile Legends ini. Jadi menurut gua musuhnya lumayan kuat.
So is there any special preparation for the next match?
Untuk next matchnya lawan Kamboja kita prepare ini aja sih, respect mereka lah. Jadi mereka strateginya apa kita pelajarin, kita siapin, jadi kita nggak kaget lah buat lawan mereka. Jadi kita tetap respect siapapun lawannya, kita akan ngasih yang terbaik lah.
So you already won the game in this time, right? So what things that you have that on your team doesn't have?
Sebenarnya kekurangan di tim kita itu adalah kita masih kurang disiplin, masih kurang rapi mainnya. Dimana sebenarnya kita bisa lebih rapi, bisa lebih clean, jadi gamenya juga lebih mudah. Nah itu yang perlu kita tingkatin selama turnamen ini berjalan langsung.
Okay, so for the last question, is there anything to be worried from the next match against Cambodia? Maybe the player or their gameplay?
Mungkin lawan Kambodia ini karena kita tahu tadi kita expect-nya kita bakal finalnya lawan Malaysia ya. Ternyata Kambodia bisa ngalahin. Jadi ya kita inilah pelajarin lah kenapa mereka bisa ngalahin Malaysia, dan kita respect dari draftnya juga. Kita baca mereka strateginya bakal gimana, jadi kita nggak bakal kaget lawan mereka. Jadi
okay, so that's all for my question. Thank you for your time, and I hope the best for this competition.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so today we have.
Here, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the first game of the upper bracket finals.
It's been a short delay, but here we are. Finally, we are back into the game. Thanks for waiting, ladies and gentlemen. As we can see right now, both teams still being very, very aggressive. And as predicted, the mid lane, there's just so much action here, and Psycuts wants a part of the action.
Well, we'll see once again. Again, very sorry for the short delay. There was reports of an earthquake here in Indonesia. So we are going to be resuming. Again, we were just making sure nothing was going on. Everything's all safe to go.
Safety is #1 priority.
Exactly, but now you can already see a very aggressive movement from the side of Dreams. Going to be taken down by Impunity. This roster from Cambodia. Team Cambodia strikes first in game #1 with first blood.
The Kadira, man, is just so dangerous. And the playmaking is just very subtle. The spells from this Kadira isn't exactly that flashy, so you really need to pay attention. Otherwise, Deja is going to have a great time here, and he is on that mid lane Kadira, so that's a lot more damage to think about.
Here early on, you can already see as well that Brands is having a bit of trouble here, even though he is actually utilizing that turret really well to get the favorable trade up against the 1-1. This matchup, though, I do want to talk a little bit about it. The turtle has spawned in Arashi, who has the lead here, who has the advantage.
I think it's quite balanced, but Cambodia, they have a lot more tools to begin fights, so I think the Indonesians need to be very, very careful, and now it begins.
Numenal Blast comes in, and that's going to be taken down. The Petrify as well with the final blow as the backline will be targeted by Boom. Hijime with the flicker to get out to safety, but that's the retribution by Taz as he goes absolutely massive, dealing a whole lot of damage, picking up a kill as well. Boom, melted down, forced to flicker out, and Indonesia comes back, secures the turtle, and 2 kills.
I wish I can say I was surprised, but look at how oppressive this Joy is. A lot of damage, a lot of survivability. At the end of the fight, Taz had almost half his HP bar worth of shields, and that is something that in this early game Cambodia cannot deal with. They simply just don't have the items, the damage to deal with it, and this is why it's so annoying to have this Joy on the opposing side, and they need to be more proactive here, because if Indonesia are the ones engaging the fight, like now you can see, it's just very, very dangerous, and they are risking getting picked off.
The rhythm of Joy and the electrifying beats, it does so much damage. It's
nasty combo.
Nasty combo, and on top of that, nasty mobility. He's untargetable practically when she is using that rhythm of Joy. But
5 jumps essentially, I think.
Yeah, 4 or 5 jumps. If you keep on resetting it, if you play with the rhythm as well, you deal more damage with the passive. But there is another pause, it seems, that is going to be initiated from Cambodia right now, as we'll see what is wrong. Again, please be patient with us, ladies and gentlemen. There is, I think, a technical issue again.
We want to make sure that the game runs as intended. Nothing just sways the balance in anyone's favor. But for now, very, very interestingly enough, it's the matchup here between the Joy and the Martis. It's just very interesting because it's the same idea. A lot of dashes, tankiness as well, and a lot of damage. So now it becomes a showdown almost between the Martis and the Joy, especially in this early game where you can just abuse that immunity and just take control. But now it's a bit of a mechanical showdown.
We'll see, right? Early game, it does feel like even though Cambodia were able to find that first blood, punishing Dreams, it is Indonesia that still has more control from the neutral objective take to the team fight that happened around the turtle. Here, though, again, once we get into the mid stage, I'm looking at the compositions and I'm just thinking right now, it feels like it's just the Kaja who can really be a problem for the Joy. The Kadita, sure, if he is able to land that Petrify with the Breath of the Ocean combo, but if not, it's done, right? It's just the Kaja. Kaja use a Divine Judgment, that's about it. But considering that Indonesia have a whole lot of other abilities, a whole lot of other resources to counter the Divine Judgment, like that's exactly what we saw in the first turtle fight. The Divine Judgment was popped into the Joy, but then there was a Numenal Lance that was channeled in.
It was momentum, the initiative, because if they are the ones starting off things, then the Indonesians are forced to use their spells defensively to try and stave off that damage. But now, as you can see, they have no doubt at all. There's no hesitation in using the Numeran Blast, the Electro-Final Blow, to just go aggressive, and this is what we've been talking about from Indonesia. They have a front-to-back team composition against a dive composition, and yet they don't care. They're going to go and bring the fight to you instead.
Well, we're going to jump in back to the game as the game has been resumed by Cambodia and Indonesia. Again, 3 minutes in, there is a 1,000 gold lead currently for Indonesia. Both teams are playing it relatively passive here as Taz jumps in once again with the Rhythm of Joy. Jumps in as well using the electrifying beats. Doesn't get the gold buff though.
That's a fancy beat actually that comes up when you use that ultimate. But Taz is just all across the map, trying to get the ganks up, getting that farm as well. I think the mid-game is where both teams have the resources to try and start just turning up the aggression and starting to attempt to at least snowball or maybe perhaps just get objective advantages, because both teams have shown that they have that macro knowledge. And I think with that, that makes the team fights just that much trickier depending on what neutral objective is on the map.
Good read by Brands here, as we mentioned. Strong side towards that gold lane for Cambodia. Taz again with the Rhythm of Joy just being such a nuisance. Lutu still able to get out on the Martis, anti-CC, but it is just going to be Indonesia who takes the turtle for free, as Cambodia has opted to actually play around that gold lane. Opie finding a solo kill up against Brands. And T and Deja are waiting patiently for Taz to step in. He jumps in, gets caught in Divine Judgment, and that's the burst we mentioned, Arashi. The Petrify as well, but Taz is still able to survive. Jumps in with the Rhythm of Joy once, twice, 3 times, and that's the 4th with the electrifying beats, dealing as much damage as possible. Deja gets taken out by Dreams. So much shielding for the Joy, Arashi.
Taz on the Joy. Yes, there's a lot of shielding here, but even before that, in the initial CC lock, he was able to survive from that without a vengeance. So that is very interesting. I really thought that it was over for him right there, but he was able to survive with a sliver of HP, and that is all you need on this hero. You need to seal the deal before there's any counterplay. Otherwise, it's an absolute disaster. And for Cambodia, now they're on the back foot for sure. Indonesia will try and use this lead, this control, and get those nasty pickoffs of their own, or even a big combo, unless Cambodia can do something surprising, like the trap in the purple buff. It was a very great attempt.
6 minutes in now, it's still a 1,000 gold lead. I feel like Cambodia, even though they've been behind, they've been losing a lot in these skirmishes, they're still keeping level head. They're really farming well, and they're trying their best to minimize that gold lead. Meanwhile, Boom actually gets a solo kill on Psychots. Deja will fall as well. It's 1-for-1 as Taz is looking for an engage. It's the conceal by T to help his gold laner OP get out. Dreams, though, going to be brought back for Divine Judgment. That's the shield coming up, and that's going to be OP, who's looking for all the shield. That's the crossbow tang popped up. It's going to be Dreams who gets taken down, but it's going to be traded back in as OP will fall to the hands of Brands. That's, again, Taz doing so much damage with the electrifying beats. Popping that sick beat, my man.
On the sick beat, but losing the mid turret in the process. That is a very good rotation from Lutu. But you can see that the rotation game very much favors Indonesia. They're always one step ahead due to that wave clear advantage. But somehow, some way, Cambodia, they've been staying in their lanes, and eventually they are having a turret advantage. Although now, Indonesia has a chance to actually use that time to go for the neutral objectives.
Cambodia are so good at looking for these crazy pickoffs almost everywhere on the map. But they're opting, again, to put most of their resources to play around OP. 2-0 stat line currently. Still the same stat line as Brands, but again, they are already getting that push control around the topside river. Indonesia rotating with a similar pattern towards that top side. Lutu trying his best to just open up the map, and both teams will not decide to go in just yet.
Oh, they go in for the gold buff though, but it seems to be just a small trade going on, unless Dreams goes into the bush.
Uh-oh, that's going to be Dreams. A lot of resources placed onto him. He soaks in every single damage from the crossbow tang, and that's going to be Taz caught very low. Still able to dash in with the Rhythm of Joy. That's Brands actually locking Lutu in place with his go away. Lutu finding the kill, but will fall as well to the hands of Taz, who picks up a double. Psychots now onto T, who has the Divine Judgment, will be able to pull him back into the turret. Now Boom, with the Bravest Fighter, is able to dish out some damage, but Psychots gets out with relative ease on that Benedetta.
Cambodia is getting some kills on the board, but they're allowing Taz to start to snowball, man. He is 3-0 right now. He has that Genius one, and he has built the Oracle very early on. It means less damage for him, but it also means that Deja as well as Tai cannot actually burst him down as reliably as they would like, and it's only going to get worse from here on out. He is already very tanky, and with the steel leg plates, that is some very efficient itemization to ensure that the damage from OP as well as Lutu and Boom can be mitigated as well.
Here, again, it feels like Cambodia.
Sheesh! Sorry, my bad.
It's okay. There's also a Kalas right there from Dream, so both teams just having fun, right? Even though they're competing here in the upper bracket finals for the grand final spot, it's great to see that both teams are still enjoying their time in the Land of Dawn. Cambodia, though, however, are 3,000 gold behind of Indonesia. This will definitely impact their next few fights if they do decide to commit and fight, contest, instead of trading. Boom has already started his rotation down to that top side. Deja going to be able to catch Psychots with the Petrify. Suppression as well with Divine Judgment. Taz wreaking havoc with the Rhythm of Joy. That's the Nunan Blast placed in as well. Popped in. T going to be caught, but it's only the Roamer taken down for the XP lane. Lutu and Boom still relatively untouched. He gets the stun onto 2 members, but the real world manipulation is still there. Taz again jumping, weaving everywhere. Has the electrifying beats, but will not choose to use it just yet. They'll choose to go for the Lord now. 1-for-1, it still stands, but it's still Indonesia with more control.
Indonesia has more control and they are trying to use it to bait in more kills. Lutu goes in 1v3, but he will be forced to back away, and Indonesia is not risking any 50-50 in this retribution battle. They're waiting for the right moment, and they have a structure taken on the other side of the map just for good measure. Now with Hijumi having a glowing wand, the poke damage is going to get very, very much worse for the side of Cambodia, and that will pressure them into making these reckless engages, and perhaps that will allow Indonesia to punish it even more. As you can see, Cambodia very intent on getting this Lord.
Top lane, tier 1 going to be target T, looking for that Divine Judgment, but a perfectly placed go-away is there. Taz, again with the Rhythm of Joy, soaking in so much damage, but will be caught in the Petrify. That's a shutdown over to Opie, who's going massive now. Has the crossbow tang, just one more weakness point onto Dreams, but Opie gets poked back. Falling back now, Dreams is looking for it. Psychots with a Petrify onto 2, and the final blow finds Opie. It's absolutely amazing for Psychots with the crossbow tank given over to Opie, who's still able to convert it onto Dreams. 2 members falling once again. Cambodia have risen again. It's a 3-for-1.
It's a 3-for-1, an absolute disaster for Indonesia. Taz got shut down by none other than OP, and that's a huge gold swing as the Indonesians go in for another fight.
Brands trying to do what he can here. He's going for the steal, but will not be able to find it. The go away and the Wind of Nature popped in, but he's going to be petrified. And you can't Wind of Nature. The damage from that Kadira magic penetrating through, and Brands taken off the board.
That's a 2v5 essentially for the Indonesians. Very, very reckless. And it seems like they're losing control in this game right now. They certainly are not expecting the difficulty for Taz to actually take control of that game. We questioned if Cambodia has a solution, has something in the pocket. That is what they're showing right now. With the Lord pushing in, Cambodia goes for the jungle control as well, and the Indonesians are struggling to keep up.
Taz, he needs to be a bit more disciplined with that Rhythm of Joy. Last time he jumped in and got caught in the Divine Judgment. That led to Cambodia getting a good fight. Conceal play. T flickering forward, not getting anyone, but that's going to be the Joy. Targeted down. Taz out instantly now as Lutsu is able to disengage. A good stun from Boom to once again help the rest of the members to back off. It's another 1-0, Rashi. And Cambodia, it feels like they're one step ahead.
It seems like now that Joy pick is actually harming the chances of Indonesia because Taz keeps going in and overestimating the flexibility, the power of this Joy, and Cambodia is absolutely punishing it. If they take it slow, Brands as well as Hijumi has enough damage to start poking around, to pressure the members of Cambodia. There's a lot of physical defense being built, but Hijumi with the glowing wand ready right now can actually poke them down before Taz goes in to secure those kills. So I think they have to be more synergized in how they want to approach these fights, because right now, it seems like it's very disconnected. We're seeing a lot of fights from Indonesia without the whole team, the 5 members at the same time.
Ooh. Cambodia. We questioned their decision not to ban the Joy, but right now it's working to their favor as T opens up the map, forcing Dreams to back off. Indonesia zoned away from their own jungle as the orange buff will be claimed by Cambodia again. It feels so tough for Indonesia currently because Cambodia have such a good kite back composition. They can kite back, they can even engage now. And that's what we mentioned earlier, right? This pick style of composition that Cambodia opted to go for and kept on building towards. It really is looking super strong right now.
Especially because early on, Indonesia has their own pressure, so Cambodia cannot synergize, cannot set up for these big ambushes. But now with the tides turned, with the gold lead in the hands of the Cambodians, they are all over the jungle of the Indonesians. The Magic Sentry will expose them for now, as Brands has picked up this Demon Hunter sword, allowing him to maybe be a bigger threat towards the tankier members.
Ooh, that was such a risky move by Taz. Man, he dashed towards T on the Kaja. But he knows exactly what's going to happen there. He knows that T won't be in range after he uses the Rhythm of Joy. But it was just pretty stressful for me to watch.
Again, very aggressive moves. That's not quite necessary for Taz, so maybe this is just his character, his killer instinct, his mechanical skill wanting to be used, but now Psychos is being targeted.
Uh-oh, Psychos gonna be caught, doesn't get the eye for an eye, but he gets the Petrify. Now the final blow as well, caught No crossbow tang used just yet. Indonesia decide to look for a trade here on the Lord. Look for retribution. Taz gets it, but he's going to be caught there. Brands with a brilliant disengage. Crossbow tang still ready. OP pops it in. Winner truncheon by Taz now. Caught in the midst of it all. Jumps in. Back and forth once again. Taz gets out. It's a good trade. Psychots traded in for the Lord for Indonesia to stay in this game.
Wow, that mobility, man, is just so tough to deal with. Cambodia, with 4 members, were unable to get that pickup onto Taz, and now Hejume has built a winter truncheon as well, so the dive is just less effective.
Uh-oh, Dreams caught Taz doing so much damage. Taz is absolutely a monster here. He's still able to survive, buying so much time, and it's a 1-for-0, 1-for-1 here. Everybody's low, 2-for-1, as that's a kill taken by Brands. 2 members low from Cambodia. The Enhanced Lord marching top. And it does seem like we're going to get a replay here, Arashi. What happened in this team fight?
Cambodia going for the aggression, crowded around together, and the AoE coming in from Hejume is something that they are not taking into consideration. What? They get very, very low, but now another fight is breaking up in the bottom, in the actual real game time.
Hejume, apparently, a bit too aggressive, overstepping his boundaries there in the enemy jungle. But it's all good for Indonesia still. Even though they lost Hejume, they were able to find a few trades on the board. Tier 2 in the top lane, mid lane, and even in the bottom lane, equalizing the turrets here for themselves. But the Tier 2 hasn't fallen in that bottom lane just yet.
I'm questioning a bit how the Winter Truncheon is the option that Hejume is building for, because I think even if he does survive with the Winter Truncheon, that means that the whole roster of Cambodia will be on him when he gets out of it. I thought he would opt for something a bit more kite orientated, but now he has that double wand combo along with the Divine Glaive. That's more than enough damage, and he will be one of the main targets for the side of Cambodia. But keep in mind, Cambodia are just stacking up that magic resistance. 2 Radiant Armors already built, Oracle for Boom as well. That will mean that the bulk of the damage will need to come from Brands and Psychots. We'll have to see, can that win condition be completed, achieved by the Indonesians?
Well, they're already popping that conceal. Dreams looking for the plays, opens up the map. T there, doesn't choose to go for the Divine Judgment just yet. Deja gets out with the Odyssey. Ludu still soaking in a lot. OP, Psychots trying his best to look for it. Psychots tries to cut the wave there, but it's not going to be able to happen. T gets a Divine Judgment, but Psychots once again is going to be able to jump in. Winter Nature popped in by OP, who's going to be massive here. Has a lot of room to play with. Boom jumps in, Brands gets stunned, but has the Winter Nature. OP still in the back line, still hitting. Has it, having the crossbow attack. Will try his best to look for all the weakness points, but it's going to be reset once again as Taz finds the shutdown onto Lutu. Cambodia on the back foot. 2 members alive. For Indonesia, it's just Psychots who gets taken down. OP once again trying to make the miracle play happen as he looks for the crossbow attack, and he finds it. Dreams gonna be taken down. Taz as well, but a Winter Truncheon is there for Taz. Didn't know last, but OP is still kiting, still saving Cambodia from getting the amazing defense.
Boom, now chasing for a kill. Real Revolution is being popped, but the OP will be there to zone them all away. And this is the story of the game right now. If Indonesia can get pickups of their own, they have an advantage. Let's take a look at that replay once again. Cambodia going in aggressively, but then being counter-engaged, and Psychots and Taz diving towards the backline, zones everyone away until Boom comes in, and OP realizes there's a chance here. He goes back in for the outplay, gets that crossbow of Tang, and that is how dangerous Cambodia is, even on the back foot.
Oh my god, that was a 2v4, and OP continues to surprise us from last 2021 MSC to now. They're able to find the Lord because of that play, that defense that went so well for them. They punished Indonesia, all on the back of OP in the late game. Even up against Dreams, when he popped that shield, he was able to maneuver away behind the shield.
This is why this composition is so dangerous. Every single member, every single hero on the side of Cambodia can make the plays happen. Whereas for Indonesia, it's about unity. It's about synergy, playing as 5, because otherwise, alone, the Yves, the Lolita, the Melissa, they cannot make these plays happen alone. Even Taz right now is being completely countered. They need to play around each other and get that united team fight to get that victory.
18 minutes in, this is still an Enhanced Lord though that Cambodia took. They couldn't risk waiting for that 18-minute mark for the Evolved Lord to spawn. It's them now trying their best to micromanage the waves. Taz, very risky play again, walking in front of that Kaja. T's been absolutely solid with his Divine Judgments, Both teams are opting to play it still very slow, building those waves up for Cambodia to crash and siege.
Not to mention, T has the flicker, so beware of that flicker Divine Judgment combo. But here we go. Cambodia sieging away, and look at T.
T looking for it now, gonna get stunned up. Not able to find a Divine Judgment. That's the Petrify onto one member. Deja is the only one caught there. The real world manipulation instantly cancelled out, and Indonesia opts to clear out the Enhanced Lord first. Bottom lane gonna be targeted here. That's gonna be an amazing winner instruction by Hijime to escape from the Divine Judgment threat. Lumina Blast now onto one member. It was dodged away by Lutu and Boom, who's now caught in the base. Immortality still available. 1 for 0 right now for Cambodia. Boom, getting out. Taz jumping in, looking for some damage. Not able to connect on the second Rhythm of Joy, and Cambodia will try their best to look for another push.
Hijime has the Holy Crystal, so that's a lot of damage. He is the main wave tier 2 right now, but Psychos goes in.
Final blow used up. Deja gonna be caught there, but still is able to run away with the oddity. Psychos gonna be taken down. The crossbow tang, massive. Opie is absolutely overpowered. The real world manipulation and desperation. Boom, gonna be caught. Immortality's popped in. Lutu looks for the base, and Cambodia gets the first game in the series. Another massive victory for Cambodia.
We said Joy was OP. We said the team that has Joy will win the game for sure. Cambodia says no. That is not the case at all. We have the answer. They just completely shut Taz down. The mechanical genius cannot show his skill. That is props to Cambodia, man.
We all thought Joy was unbeatable. Cambodia definitely showed that Joy was unbeatable in their game against Malaysia. To do this up against Indonesia, a team that haven't lost a single game in ISF so far, when you give them Joy, the unlosable, quote-unquote, character. Cambodia right now are on a different level, and this just spices up the tournament even more. The tournament favorites all might be going down to the lower brackets.
That is insane, man. You have to question right now, is the Joy pick something that the Indonesians were not ready to utilize, right? Because it does seem like Taz occasionally, as you mentioned, Mirko, misses some of the rhythm, some of the hops as well, comes in at real unfortunate moments. So we'll have to see if the same strategy gets applied. But looking at the highlights, the early game is just absolutely chaotic, and this is how we like it. Both teams wanting to be aggressive. Indonesia, even though they don't have a lot of pickoffs, they are willing to take the fight to Cambodia, and Cambodia are just so happy to oblige. They go in with those pickoffs. They make so many good setups, hiding in the bushes, hiding in plain sight even, and they are able to get a lot of moments catching Indonesia off guard. And even though in the late game it got kind of close, even though on paper Cambodia was not supposed to win in that late game, in those big team fights, they find a way to make it work. They utilize the objective gameplay as well, and they're showing again, even though we're not the favorites, we are a top tier contender. Take us seriously or pay the price.
OP did so much for the team here. You could see, but the entire team played around him so well in this game. OP was behind early on. You could see that he was taken down twice here in the 9th minute mark. Indonesia seemed to have control, but in the mid-game, it all changed after one team fight. And that's the Lord fight right here that you see. Psychots got an amazing flank, but OP. When you try to flank him, it seems like it's always going to be turned around. He's always positioned so well in these team fights, but he's not too far back. He's always in a position where he can hit, but he can't be hit by the enemy team. There was another moment in this match where it turned around back to Indonesia's favor. And here, this was the moment where OP outplayed Indonesia. It was a 2v4 situation with Boom dying right here. I thought it was over at this point with 4 members marching down the base. Tell us what happened here, Arashi. Dissect it for us.
I think Indonesia got a bit of advantage here. They thought that it was over, like you mentioned, Mirko, but it did not put into consideration the fact that there are so many playmaking tools in the hands of the Cambodians, and they paid the price. They could very easily back away, use the Lord, maintain that discipline we've been talking about, and slowly but surely strangle the Cambodians. But that is not what they did. They got overzealous. They figured that they can take the fight to them, and they paid the price, as we mentioned already. So Indonesia right now needs to decide how they want to do this, because for Cambodia, they have a solid plan. They have solid workarounds for all the issues that Indonesia has been throwing at them, and the match MVP is going to be OP from Cambodia. Absolutely OP with over 100,000 damage. And 73,000 damage taken as well, by the way. That's a marksman. Excuse me?
takes damage, does
Hello?
damage, has a good score, farms up, and even solo killed Brands early on.
Yes.
8-2 and 7. I think there's no doubt as to who got that MVP, the man who saved Cambodia many times in the late stage. But in the early game, we gotta give a player spotlight over to T. Because if OP carried in the late game, it was all due to T, again, protecting him, using the Divine Judgment more so as a cover tool, as a tool to peel for OP instead of engaging.
Exactly. The security, the protection is as important as the engage tools. He was also responsible for shutting down the snowball of Taz in that early game. Now we take a look at a bit of the items. And of course, OP has a full inventory slot. Brands does too, however. Unfortunately, Brands in the final fights, he was always targeted. And we talked about this. The Irithel would have countered the 1-1, would have been more mobile, more secure than the Melissa. And Brands paid the price because everyone was absolutely gunning for his life in this game. And look at all the damage items. It's by all means quite late into the game, so you cannot survive long at all. And the only real protection he has was Dreams on the Lolita, who occasionally still tries and goes aggressive with the Numenon Blast. So like I said, Indonesia needs to work out a proper team fight plan because otherwise, if they don't have the composition for it, it is not going to work out.
I feel like that was our main concern coming into game number 1, right? For Indonesia, it's definitely that pick, the Melissa. Instead of the Irithel, we mentioned as well that we personally think that the Irithel is just such a solid hero up against a 1-1, especially up against so much dive. The Melissa does do well with the go away, certainly is able to stop these members from getting close. But the thing is, from the Lapu, can't let you get close, but Lapu and obviously the Kadita, there are abilities from the Lapu and Kadita that can go through that go away, right? The stun is technically range, it's melee, but it has a quite a big range, quite a big hitbox as well. But before we head on over to game 2, we're going to take a short break. Arashi and Mirko signing off for a bit. Stay tuned.
And I have a few questions to ask. So the first question, how do you feel about this match? Are you feel satisfied, or maybe there are some things that you all need to improve from this match?
From the last match, we feel exciting, and there's a lot of things for us to learn from the last match.
Okay, so what do you think about your enemy performance today?
The performance is very strong because they have more experience, and yes, they very strong.
So is there any special preparation for the next match?
Yeah, there is the draft, the strategy for the next match.
Okay, so you already won the game in this time, right?
Yeah.
What things do you have that your enemy doesn't have? Maybe it can be your chemistry more than good than them, or rather?
I think it's our spirit. Together, we all in one. We know what to do, and yeah, we trust each other. We have the same spirit.
So how confident are you to win this competition?
Our confidence is 50%.
50%?
Yeah, 50%.
So for the last question, who is the toughest enemy in this competition? Why?
I think both of Philippines and Indonesia are the toughest team for us to beat.
Why?
Because they are the stronger team in ASEAN, and they have more experience, and yeah, their players so strong.
So okay, so that's all for my question. Thank you for your time, and I hope the best for your competition.
Thank you.
Okay, so today we have Age and Textam as a coach and analyst from Indonesian Mobile Legends team in World Esports Championship 2022, and I have a few questions to ask. Okay. So the first question, how do you feel about this match? Are you all satisfied, or maybe there's something that you all need to improve from this match?
Dengan pertandingan tadi kita udah lumayan puas lah ya, kita bisa menang terus, tapi kalau kita lihat kita tetap fokusnya buat di upper bracket final, terus di nanti di grand finalnya sih. Jadi ya kita masih tetap, walaupun puas, tetap fokus buat dapetin emas sih, kayak gitu.
So what do you think about your enemy performance today?
Musuhnya sebenarnya lumayan bagus. Dari draftingnya juga kita lihat mereka udah cenderung ke hero-hero yang meta, yang mereka tahu powernya seperti apa, ngikutin patch banget, dan ya lumayan ngagetin sih musuhnya. Mereka bisa adaptasi dengan meta-meta yang sedang berlangsung lah di Mobile Legends ini. Jadi menurut gua musuhnya lumayan kuat.
So is there any special preparation for the next match?
Untuk next match-nya lawan Kamboja kita prepare ini aja sih, apa, respect mereka lah. Jadi mereka strateginya apa kita pelajarin, kita siapin, jadi kita nggak kaget lah buat lawan mereka. Jadi kita tetap respect siapapun lawannya, kita akan ngasih yang terbaik lah.
So you already won the game in this time, right? So what things that you have that on your team doesn't have?
Sebenarnya kekurangan di tim kita itu adalah kita masih kurang disiplin, masih kurang rapi mainnya. Dimana sebenarnya kita bisa lebih rapi, bisa lebih clean, jadi gamenya juga lebih mudah. Nah itu yang perlu kita tingkatin selama turnamen ini berjalan langsung.
Okay, so for the last question, is there anything to be worried from the next match against Cambodia? Maybe the player or their gameplay?
Mungkin lawan Kambodia ini karena kita tahu tadi kita expect-nya kita bakal finalnya lawan Malaysia ya. Ternyata Kambodia bisa ngalahin. Jadi ya kita inilah pelajarin lah kenapa mereka bisa ngalahin Malaysia, dan kita respect dari draftnya juga. Kita baca mereka strateginya bakal gimana. Jadi kita nggak bakal kaget lawan mereka. Jadi
okay, so that's all from my question. Thank you for your time, and I hope the best for this competition.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so today we have Malaysia Mobile Legends teams in Esports Championship 2022, and I have a few questions to ask. So the first question, how do you feel about this match? Are you all satisfied, or maybe there are some things that you all need to improve in this match?
I mean, we are okay. We are fine with it because yes, before this game we lost, but it was our mistake. I think mistakes are the best teachers, and we learn from it. Moving into this game, we were having another way of thinking, and yes, we won again. A little satisfied.
So, what do you think about your enemy performance today?
Saya rasa performa dorang bagus, cuma dorang maybe kurang dari dorang leak dari segi drafting. So drafting dorang tu macam dorang pick ni tapi dorang tak tahu combo dengan apa. Tu bagi pendapat saya lah.
So, is there any special preparation for the next match?
Definitely yes, because we'll be going between Argentina or Philippines. Both are strong teams in their own region. They are both strong teams. Definitely we want to try to win them because we'll be meeting them again in M4.
Okay. So you already won the game this time, right? What things that you have but your enemy doesn't have?
Tadi, enjoy.
Benjoy.
Okay, for the last question, what are your worries for the next match?
If my jungler wants to play Franco. Jungler, I don't know. What are your worries? Aku ada apa-apa worry tak?
Any worries for the next match?
Maksud apa?
Kalau kau ada apa-apa risau tak for the next match?
Oh, untuk next match, jangan bagi Franco jangan lah.
Okay, so that's all for my question. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope the best for this competition.
Fendi and Adana, Karen, they be sharing all their money, got me wearing fly. Girl, but I ain't asking. They say they love my ass and 7 G's to religion. I say no, but they keep giving, so I keep on taking. And no, I ain't taking. We can keep on taking. I keep on demonstrating my love, my love, my love, my love. You love my lady lumps, my hump, my hump, my hump, my humps. They got you. 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 Dolce and Gabbana, Fendi and Adana, Karen, they be sharing all their money.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. We're ready. The players are ready as well. There's a big question over to you guys. I'm gonna throw it. Are you guys ready for Game number 2, Indonesia versus Cambodia. Cambodia came up to play, came up to, again, conquer this tournament with that performance in Game 1. Another declaration of war from a team that, again, was not expected to do this well, right? A lot of people, even me, I predicted them to actually lose up against Malaysia. They beat Malaysia, and right now they are one step away, one game away from securing top 2 in the grand finals.
Definitely not the result we were expecting, but Cambodia, man, no joy, no problem, and it really seems like this is their game to play. But speaking of games, Mirko.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, our official telco operator partner, Telkomsel, has a message for all you guys. Guys, are you looking for an amazing fun game? Are you looking for an amazing fun game, Arashi?
Yeah.
Well, take your Samsung phone and open it up, right? Because the return of Condor Heroes, an interesting game with very, very good gameplay. Thousands of characters that you guys will enjoy in the game. You guys can make your favorite warrior be the strongest warrior in the game. Bring your clan to become an unbeatable clan.
That's the fun part, right?
That's the fun part, right? I mean,
make a clan with friends.
Make a clan with friends, choose your character, and you guys can now download it on the Google Play Store or the App Store. For more information, obviously, you guys can visit at condorheroes.duniagames.co.id. But Rashi has a few more messages for you guys.
Or of course, if you have Telkomsel points and you want to get some merchandise or free drinks, or you want to just join in the fun games, we have a booth here that allows you to just redeem those codes. So visit the Telkomsel booth if you're on location and make sure that you maximize this opportunity. Yes.
Oh my
How
God.
did you not know this, Mirko?
Did you redeem it already?
Of course I have.
Oh, man.
Where do you think I've been in match number 1?
I don't know, man. I thought you just disappeared, you know?
I've been making moves, man. So redeem your points. You can get a smartphone even.
Smartphone?
There's like a raffle, like a gacha, like an auction at the mini stage. So check your points, redeem it, put it to good use, because why not? There's more than millions of rupiahs worth of like benefits every day. Every day.
Every single day.
To this day.
To this day. But, ladies and gentlemen, again, a reminder for everybody to come over. You know, Merusaka Nusa Dua. This is where ISF is being held, and it's an offline event that's going to go all the way till the 11th of December. So there's still a lot of days if you guys want to come to visit. Here, though, we are going to jump into the draft for game number 2. Cambodia on the blue side. This time, Indonesia. Oh, man, you can see it. Phobia's ban. It's a setup for the Joy. Indonesia bans the Joy instantly. All right. You could see. You can see. Cambodia knows how to counter it, knows how to play it. Just take it out, man.
Interesting options in Cambodia. They don't want to let Taz have his signature hero as well, so the Fanny will be banned away. And now you're wondering, what is the approach? Because Indonesia tried that front-to-back, that team fight approach. It wasn't working so well, and maybe they just are suited right now to go for something a lot more aggressive. A bit more of a dive comp, because we saw that Psychots, right, in the right composition with that Yuzong, moving forward, he seems to be in a lot more control compared to this more defensive style. So we'll have to see. Diggy has been banned out, so they have the chance to also have that heavy crowd control, heavy-handed approach. But for Cambodia right now, I think they might be looking towards that Kaja once again. Very flexible with the wave clear, with the pickoff potential as well.
Fanny ban coming in from Cambodia. Still, though, even after winning Game 1, they are respecting Indonesia's prio picks, comfort picks. The Diggy will be banned out. Similarly to game number 1 by Indonesia. The award is still up for grabs, but the 1-1 now is actually going to be banned out by Cambodia, who has the first pick on the blue side. Technically forcing Indonesia to choose between the Leom, the Kaja, or the Valentina.
Or the Martis, or
Leomord.
all the heroes available right now.
But
It's
I think
all
for
so
first pick
situational.
prio, it's mostly still just Valentina Kaja. For this case, because of all the other heroes banned.
I must say, again, with the players being so mechanically gifted, I think having that suppression is just so much more valuable than the other aspects, the other attributes available from these other heroes. So I think I agree, Valentina and Kaja will be important, but will Indonesia ban one of these options, or will they let both open so they can pick one for themselves? It's going to be the Kaja banned out, so Cambodia, no joy.
No Joy, no Kaja, no Diggy. Valentina still in the fray for them to pick up. If it's not the Valentina, though, Leomord, Martis. I think right now, Leomord. Ooh, Leomord. I was expecting the Valentina, actually, to be picked up here, but it does seem like Cambodia wants to put Lu2 on, let's put this Leomord on Lutu in the jungle.
For Indonesia, I guess it will be that Valentina. It really makes sense. Going up against a Leomord, fighters like this, Valentina has a lot of utility and damage available as well. And we keep talking about this, but wave control, wave pressure. Indonesia were able to actually abuse it so much in game number 1. Unfortunately, maybe not enough. Maybe they didn't play the late game team fights correct. But the early game, we can see that Indonesia were the ones aggressing, were the ones having momentum. So I think they will have a lot of emphasis in that wave clear department as well. Beatrix can be an option, Valentina as well.
Beatrix Benedetta certainly can be the option to go for here. And Valentina, like we mentioned earlier. But Indonesia, usually, if we take a look at their previous games, the Lolita, the Benedetta.
Wow, okay.
Oh, okay, so it's a different approach, yeah. Usually we see the Fanny, the Kaja, the Beatrix always being the prio for Indonesia, but because a lot of those heroes were banned out, they decide to go for the Yu Zong, a signature pick for Psychots in this tournament so far. Cambodia picking up the Angela with no hesitation. They want to try to play around this Leomord. And honestly, yeah, Angela works, especially with that new Aspirant skin, Arashi.
It's a very, very cool skin. And we've seen, I think, other teams, other countries ban this Angela against Cambodia. So maybe this is exactly what we've been missing out on from Cambodia. We'll have to see, though. Indonesia, understanding that OP is usually just very oppressive, pun fully intended. They go for Psychots on the Yuzong, which has been a very good solution to these hyper carries in the back line. They still go for that Yi for the utility. And now Cambodia with the Cult Altar, though. That means that they're going to be clumping up quite a bit. Maybe Indonesia can set up for some kind of combo.
Fairness, Angela, Leomord, very heavy dive comp here. And Indonesia need to pick up a hero that can really withstand this kind of dive or can counter the dive, right? The Fredrin becomes a solid option here, but we've already seen the Yuzong picked up earlier on.
Jungle?
I've never seen Taz play the Fredrin in the jungle, but the Akai is another solid option, another good disengage. We've seen Taz play that one in the second game against Philippines, and it will be locked in for Indonesia. That's the Akai in the jungle, but it can also technically still be flexed into the roaming position.
Ooh, roam Akai though against an Angela. Obviously, Cambodia, I think they will rely more on the laners to be aggressive and have the Angela as more of a support, so Indonesia can get more value, more aggression in the early game. But now we're down to the second banning phase. What will Indonesia try and ban away? Because crowd control is definitely necessary for Cambodia to make this composition happen. The Lapu Lapu is banned away. We saw that Boom was able to use it to maximum effect, enabling Oppi, giving him a lot of space in those big team fights. And now for Cambodia, they themselves would want to try and deny perhaps the DPS that can melt through their very tanky composition.
Indonesia are setting themselves up pretty well with the bans here. They notice that, again, Cambodia really likes to play around these dive-centric compositions. Taking away the Lapu is a solid option, but that's the Atlas ban as well from Cambodia. Just again, trying to nullify the threat that Dreams has. We all know on these crazy, flashy heroes, Dreams really likes to pop off. But right now, honestly, for the roaming position, for the roamer, I'd actually like, if I'm Indonesia right now, I think I'm hovering over the Mathilda, right? You need a little bit more utility. It's an amazing hero with utility. It can also be synergized well. It actually synergizes well with the Akai as well, right? You can pin people down with the help of the Circling Eagle when you are in that heavy spin position, when you have that ability active.
Well, I wonder if the Kadita is going to be banned away, because for Cambodia, I think it's a very solid option, but of course, already heroes in that role, so it won't be there. And I don't know if Indonesia will be willing to use it, maybe defensively. They ban away that Masha though, and Franco is the ban from Cambodia. I find it quite peculiar, honestly, the Franco ban, because I think Indonesia with the Franco is going to be a pretty weird composition, right? You're hooking people closer to your team when you want to get away from them. Maybe they're afraid of that buff denial, you know, the early game pickoffs for Indonesia to start snowballing. But now we're down to the final 4 picks for both these teams. Indonesia for sure will require some DPS.
I think it's also because of just that suppression that he has in the Bloody Hunt. becomes such a good cover peel utility tool for Indonesia. But now, with the banning session done, both the first phase and the second phase, Indonesia will look to go for the first pick, which is still going to be that Melissa. This time, I actually like this pick a bit better than last time, right? You're up against a Leo Moore. The go away can have a little bit more use here, especially with the peel already there, ready with the Kai.
Not to mention there's Psychots on the Yutsong as well. The Furious Dive can be used defensively if it's necessary, so we'll have to see. I think we have to wait on that final pick. Is it going to be more aggression, more defensive? But for Cambodia right now, they require golden of their own. It might be an Irithel. Works well with the dive nature, the movement speed forward from Cambodia. And if it takes high loss as well, that is a big slow, a big front line, a solid stun as well. So moving with speed here from Cambodia, maybe relying a bit on the Angela slow as well to try and catch the members of Indonesia off guard.
Well, you know, we've always asked how to counter the utility from Yves, maybe with more movement speed, right? There's a lot of sprints there. With the Irithel being so mobile, there's a Leomord, a Faramis as well, and the Hylos. This is a movement speed composition. Indonesia might actually find it very difficult to lock people down with this kind of composition. They're going to lean heavily on, again, that Petrify from Psychots. But we saw, even in game number 1, with the Benedetta Petrify, Cambodia splits up really well before that flank to prevent that from happening. Indonesia with the final pick here, they need a
roamer. Unless the Akai goes into that roaming position, which is, you know, can work, but not really. And we mentioned the Kadita. Dreams on this Kadita is very, very dangerous, but we'll have to see. It's a mixed bag from Indonesia. Some kite back, some engage, some pick off, some team fight. Whereas for Cambodia, it's full metal, pedal to the metal. They want to go all the way in and take out Indonesia.
Oh, man. Indonesia with the Kadita, they're basically trying to limit that move speed. They're trying to limit that mobility from Cambodia with another Petrify. Another CC lock hero that we just mentioned earlier. That's basically the tools for Indonesia to win. That's their win condition. If they can actually burst someone down, petrify them, stun them up for the rest of the members to follow up, it's going to be a good day, a good game for Indonesia. But if Cambodia somehow are able to maneuver around that or to split up so that only one member or at most 2 of the front lines gets caught in the Petrify, then honestly, Cambodia has a chance to actually 2-0 Indonesia. I think it comes down again to the execution this time.
I think having a combination of the Yutsong and the Kadira, we've seen something similar from Indonesia when they're up against a very solid gold laner. Someone to dive and threaten the gold laner, and someone to just completely annihilate him with like an assassin pick. So I think Kadira can serve that purpose, but now we're straight back into the Land of Dawn, Mirko.
Well, once again, ladies and gentlemen, we're jumping into the Land of Dawn, where Indonesia is trying to equalize, and Cambodia are trying to secure the grand final position with Dreams already very aggressively moving into the enemy jungle, taking a whole lot of damage here as Danger rotates as well. It's first blood before the first minute of the game. Cambodia are on fire.
Bit of a disaster trying to get information on a Kadita. Very, very squishy. Yes, you have the blessing of the ocean, but you need to survive for that to actually work out. And by the way, speaking of security, 3 Purifies on the side of Cambodia.
Man.
They are not having any crowd control issues whatsoever. They want to be able to do whatever they want, and they have enough mobility to make that happen without those sprints. So the Purifies will mean that Indonesia needs to be very wise in how they want to use these skills.
Oh, T still able to get out. Going to be taken down by Hijuman. That's a trade back on the board. Both the roamers already falling here early in the game. But I do feel like, again, in terms of that mid-control, this Yves with the Kadita will definitely have a bit of an edge. Clearing out the waves a bit faster to rotate and to provide more help across the side lanes.
If they roam S3 along with Taz on the Akai, they actually have more advantage, but look at this dive.
Oh, Lutsu, too aggressive. Gonna be taken down, punished, and that's the real world manipulation as well. A very aggressive play from Cambodia, but this time it might be too aggressive as Taz jumps in with a heavy spin, instantly knowing where Boom is. The Furious Dive as well from Psychots to pick up the kill and to take the lead in game 2.
They have the pressure, and now they can go for the turtle, because for Cambodia, this Faramis can save some of their members from the big burst damage, but hang on, as we say that though, that is Deja picking up a kill onto Psychots. Definitely not what Indonesia wants, but there we go. Turtle secured for Indonesia in minute number 2.
It's still just a very slow game now that the action has happened early on, Arashi. Both teams will be waiting for the neutral objectives. They don't really want to go for anything too crazy, but just as I say it, Lutu will be caught for the second time in this game. And this time it's by Dreams, who's taking it a bit personally, that first kill. And you can see as well, Brands just having a good time on that Melissa against the Irith though. Breath of Ocean popped in, OP going to be sandwiched by Indonesia. The real world manipulation as well, forcing OP to use that ultimate to get out of the range. It's still OP who can survive, who can still get out, but look at the waves. Very disadvantageous for Cambodia. It's pushing in towards Indonesia, and Brands is just letting it push.
Wave clear advantage for Indonesia and fight skirmish advantage for Cambodia, unless, as we talked about, Dreams can actually start having that pick-off gameplay. He was able to delete Lutu, who is a fighter in the early game, so that definitely is not what Cambodia wants. They are grouping at the bottom side though. There might be a big fight building up here, as they're just waiting there, trying to counter-engage on the possible dive towards OP. This is what you come to expect. They want to make sure that OP does not get shut down. He is the main win condition.
But here, so far, Brands has been able to find a